When a head coach loses his locker room, the season doesn't implode quietly. It collapses from the inside out. And right now in Cleveland, every insider whisper says Kevin Stefanski is one decision away from a full-scale mutiny. This isn't about a botched play call. It's not about a missed assignment or even Deshaun Watson's never-ending roller coaster of performances. No, the drama in Cleveland has a new name: Shedeur Sanders. Think about it. Here's a rookie quarterback who hasn't even taken a regular season snap. Yet he's turned the Browns facility into a reality show. Veteran players are reportedly questioning their coach's choices. Younger guys are huddling around highlight clips. Fans are chanting his name like he's already the savior. And all the while, Stefanski keeps insisting Sanders' time hasn't arrived. But inside that locker room, patience looks a lot less like discipline and a lot more like sabotage. Sources say veterans want Sanders on the field now, not tomorrow, not when he's developed, now. Why? Because they believe the kid represents more than potential. He represents momentum, wins, ticket sales, relevance, every measurable side of energy this struggling franchise has been missing for decades. The irony? Sanders hasn't needed to throw a touchdown to become the most polarizing figure in the building. Just his presence, the swagger, the pedigree, the aura, has sparked an identity crisis in Cleveland. Stefanski wants stability. His players want the spark. And in the NFL, once belief in the quarterback shifts, control of the team often goes with it. So the question isn't just if Shedeur gets his shot. It's how long Stefanski can hold his locker room together before the hype train completely passes him by. This is Cleveland's latest quarterback controversy, but it might be the one that defines Stefanski's entire coaching career. When the Browns drafted Shedeur Sanders, they didn't just add a player, they launched a full-blown campaign. From the moment his name was called, he was marketed as the future of Cleveland football. His jersey was in stores before his locker was even cleaned out at rookie minicamp. Season ticket ads featured him. Preseason promos teased Sanders as the spark that would finally end the quarterback carousel that's haunted the Browns for decades. And to be fair, Shedeur did his part. Training camp insiders raved about his poise, confidence, and arm talent. Teammates quietly admitted he looked sharper than expected. In preseason snippets, he showed flashes, the kind of highlight reel throws that spread like wildfire online. Sanders didn't look overwhelmed. He looked ready. So imagine the whiplash when reality hit. Instead of building a competition around Sanders, coaches doubled down on veterans like Joe Flacco and gave Dylan Gabriel the clear edge for QB2. The rookie the franchise had trumpeted as its future found himself holding a clipboard, taking scraps in practice, and watching others get opportunities he never saw. For fans who'd been sold Shedeur as the star, it felt like false advertising. For players, it was confusing. After weeks of hype and high-energy reps, their supposed franchise quarterback was suddenly sidelined, reduced to background noise. That disconnect cut deep, and the NFL is all about perception. When players see your best marketing tool and most exciting rookie reduced to developmental reps while the offense sputters, they start asking uncomfortable questions. Is this about winning? Or is it about a coach protecting his authority? Sanders' slide from centerpiece to sideline wasn't just a depth chart adjustment. It was the spark that lit the current fire. A fan base betrayed, a locker room restless, and a quarterback whose aura only seems to grow the less he plays. It's one thing for a rookie quarterback to sit behind a veteran. It's practically the NFL's oldest story. But in Cleveland, the way Shedeur Sanders has been handled doesn't feel like patience. It feels like politics. The first eyebrow-raising moment came in preseason. Sanders had shown command with the second-team offense and even sparked late-game drives that caught fans' attention. Then, just as momentum built, he was yanked before running a 2-minute drill, the very situation designed to test poise under pressure. Instead, the coaching staff inserted a journeyman veteran who wasn't even considered likely to make the final roster. To players and fans alike, the message was confusing. Why deny the kid the reps that actually matter? That single moment unleashed whispers that Kevin Stefanski wasn't just easing Sanders along. He might be holding him back. Theories spread quickly. Some said the coach didn't want to look like ownership was forcing Sanders onto the field. Others believed it was about loyalty, protecting his guys like Flacco and Gabriel, rather than giving in to the hype created outside the building. Analysts started poking holes too. ESPN's Ryan Clark openly wondered if Stefanski was managing egos instead of managing the game. Fans pushed the narrative further, calling the odd play calling when Sanders did get in, long developing routes with fringe players, a setup to make him look worse against NFL competition. Inside the locker room, that chatter mattered. Teammates noticed the inconsistencies. They'd worked with Sanders in practice, saw his accuracy and athleticism against the first-team defense, then watched him sidelined in moments everyone assumed he'd play. To veterans grinding for wins, that didn't look like development. It looked like stubbornness, maybe even sabotage. Patience is one thing, but when decisions feel personal rather than competitive, faith in leadership evaporates fast. And in Cleveland, the whisper heart fading, they're getting louder. A divided fan base is bad enough, but when the cracks spread into the locker room, coaches are officially on borrowed time. And in Cleveland, more and more signs point to veteran players quietly, and not so quietly, siding with Shedeur Sanders over Kevin Stefanski. According to insiders, several seasoned Browns starters have voiced frustration behind closed doors. They've seen the offense sputter with Joe Flacco and Dylan Gabriel, and they can't ignore how different it looks whenever Sanders sneaks into reps. His velocity changes route timing. His mobility buys extra seconds in broken plays. Even his demeanor, calm, confident, unfazed, has impressed players who normally roll their eyes at rookies until they've earned their scars. It's not just about the X's and O's, though. Veterans know that Shedeur creates buzz. That buzz means national spotlight, higher ticket sales, and more attention, all of which translate into something every player understands: more money. Star quarterbacks don't just pad stat sheets. They raise revenue, strengthen brands, and pad contract values for everyone around them. For a roster filled with players chasing paydays, Sanders represents momentum on and off the field. One source summed it up bluntly: if Shedeur plays, everybody wins. In other words, bigger games, brighter lights, stronger financial pull. Veterans know that hype has gravity, and right now, Shedeur's aura is gravitational. Stefanski, however, has been unmoved. The message from the sideline hasn't changed. Sanders is still a developing rookie. But when experienced players who have bled and broken their bodies for years start questioning whether the head coach is blocking their best chance to win, the dynamic turns poisonous. When the veterans turn up the heat, coaches either listen or lose the room. And right now, Stefanski is dangerously close to the latter. If there's one thing NFL coaches hate more than losing games, it's losing control of the story. And that's exactly what's happening in Cleveland. Because Shedeur Sanders isn't just a rookie quarterback, he's a content machine. Everywhere you look, his highlights are unavoidable. TikTok edits of his Colorado days rack up millions of views. Instagram reels show him dropping deep bombs or flexing his wristwatch celebration. YouTube compilations package him as the next superstar. And in today's NFL, perception often matters more than reality. Players see those clips on their phones, scroll past the fan edits, and start asking themselves, why isn't this guy playing for us? That question spreads fast. It starts as whispers in the locker room while guys watch film. Then it's murmured during workouts. Before long, half the team is buzzing like fans, convinced Sanders is a spark waiting to ignite. In a league where confidence is currency, belief itself becomes a weapon. And here's where Stefanski's job gets even tougher. Hype creates pressure that no chalkboard session can erase. Veterans begin to believe the rookie is the answer because everybody outside the building is saying it. Younger players rally around him because his swagger feels magnetic. Even fans amplify that energy, chanting his name before he's thrown a real NFL pass. Once that aura takes hold, benches get restless, rooms get divided, and the coach's grip weakens by the day. It's not even about whether Shedeur is ready anymore. It's that the belief in him is stronger than the belief in the status quo. Right now, Shedeur Sanders isn't simply Cleveland's rookie. He's become their symbol of possibility. And once possibility takes on a life of its own, no coach speech in the world can cram it back into a clipboard. Kevin Stefanski's problem isn't just what's happening inside the locker room. It's what's happening every time he steps up to a microphone. Because lately, his press conferences have sounded less like leadership and more like damage control. Reporters keep asking the question every fan is screaming. Why isn't Shedeur Sanders playing? And Stefanski's answers bear as flat as a field goal short of the uprights. He leans on the same vague phrases. Development takes time. We evaluate week by week. This gives us the best chance to win. The problem? Nobody's buying it. Not the fans, not the media, and certainly not the players who see the same sparks in practice that the public saw in camp highlights. When the Browns had a chance to put Sanders in for a 2-minute drill, reporters pressed Stefanski afterward for an explanation. His response? He brushed it off as wanting to get another guy some reps. To the room, that wasn't coaching strategy, it sounded like excuse-making. A 1-point game, national TV, and you don't test the player your franchise marketed as the future? Everyone could see the contradiction between what was being sold and what was being delivered. The more Stefanski tries to frame patience as discipline, the more it looks like stubbornness. Each non-answer feels like an admission that this isn't about football at all, but about pride. And that's the narrative blasting across every sports show and podcast. A coach so worried about protecting his authority that he'd risk alienating his team and his fan base to keep Sanders sidelined. In today's NFL, perception is often louder than the truth. And right now, the perception is Kevin Stefanski isn't leading, he's blocking. And once a coach is cast as the obstacle to a star's rise, if you follow the Cleveland Browns for any stretch of time, Shedeur Sanders' situation feels like deja vu. This franchise has turned quarterback drama into an annual tradition, and the Sanders story is just the latest episode in a soap opera that's been running for decades. Go back to the late 90s and early 2000s. Tim Couch was supposed to be the face of the expansion era, but he became another cautionary tale. Fast forward a decade, and Johnny Manziel arrived to the kind of hype circus only Cleveland could create. His jersey sales exploded, his swagger had fans convinced, and in record time, it all collapsed into highlight reels for the wrong reasons. Then came Baker Mayfield, planted a flag, brought a playoff win, and still ended up discarded after a front office pivot. Add in Deshaun Watson's turbulent tenure and Joe Flacco's stopgap appearances, and it becomes clear. The Browns haven't solved quarterback stability since rotary phones were still common. That history is what makes the Shedeur controversy burn hotter. It's not just that a promising rookie is on the bench. It's that this is exactly the cycle Browns fans have been trapped in. Hype, hope, chaos, collapse. They've seen this story before, and they're terrified he'll be the next name taped on a jersey that already bears a legendary list of failed QBs down the back. For the veterans in the locker room, it's personal. They don't want to waste their prime years watching another quarterback carousel spin out of control because of coaching politics. For the fans, it's emotional. They've tasted disappointment so often that the fear of seeing the future wasted again feels unbearable. And for the league, it's familiar too, because if history proves anything in Cleveland, it's this. No matter how much talent walks through the door, the Browns always find a way to turn it into drama. Kevin Stefanski is standing on the thinnest line of his career. And no matter which way he steps, there's damage waiting. If he caves to the pressure and puts Shedeur Sanders in too soon, The risks are obvious. NFL defenses are faster, tougher, and more ruthless than anything Sanders has seen before. A rookie quarterback thrown into the fire can get broken as fast as he's built up, and Stefanski knows that better than most. One rough outing, one bad interception, and suddenly the hype machine starts chewing Shedeur up instead of protecting him. In that scenario, the coach gets blamed for ruining the kid's confidence. But if Stefanski holds off, keeps Sanders on the bench, and rides with veterans like Flacco or Gabriel while the team sputters, the locker room revolt only grows louder. Veterans don't care about 5-year plans. They care about wins now. Every loss will feel like proof that Stefanski is gatekeeping a possible spark. Every press conference filled with vague development answers will sound more like excuses. Fans are already restless. Season ticket holders and sponsors have tied their hopes to Shedeur's name, not another year of mediocrity. This is the knife's edge where perception outweighs reality. Even if Stefanski truly believes patience is the right football decision, he's being swallowed by the belief that's taken over the franchise. The idea that Shedeur Sanders equals salvation. Belief spreads quicker than logic. And right now, belief is winning in every corner of Cleveland. So what happens next? Stefanski either bets on his rookie and risks breaking him, or keeps him tethered and risks losing the entire locker room. Neither path is safe, but both roads lead to one truth. This season will be defined by Sanders, whether he plays or not. Because in Cleveland, the Browns can't just play football. They have to turn it into a soap opera. And this year, the headline reads loud and clear: Shedeur Sanders versus Kevin Stefanski. Only one will survive the season.